All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and test us,
if you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music.
This is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? or a retiree who fell ill and had to
choose between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Coming at you live from the 93.7 The Ticket studio. From the heart of Lincoln, America, this is What's Next 24. With the authors of Next 24, Michael Worrell and Sherry Tills.
All right, welcome in. What's Next 24? Happy Sunday. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos as always. We got the host, Mike and Sherry, in studio. If you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685. That is the Starter Heyman text line. We got a great guest streaming in today, but I'll let the host, as always, introduce who we got joining us later.
Good morning, Harrison. Good morning, Lincoln. We're so excited to be here this morning. We've had a couple weeks off, but that's okay. We're back and ready to rock and roll. This morning we have you're tuned in to What's Next with Mike and Sherry, and I'm still not awake. And today we're sitting down with someone whose journey blends adventure, reflection, and financial wisdom. Darrow Kirkpatrick is the author of 2 Sticks on a Path, a memoir about hiking the Colorado Trail, rediscovering purpose. But before we get to the trail, let's go back to where it all began, Mike.
Yeah, no, this is going to be an exciting show today. You know, Darrow Kirkpatrick, you know who he's related to, don't you?
Absolutely. Our infamous, wonderful queen of the station, Rebecca Pearson.
Yeah, we just wanted to Rebecca Pearson's brother, so excited to have him here. Just to tell you a little bit about the author, Darrow's an early retired civil and software engineer with 5 decades of hiking and biking, technical rock climbing experience. He included his first ascents of, I hope I pronounced it right, Shawakins of New York and the Sandstone Belt of Tennessee. He's climbed 3 big walls at Yosemite's Valley in California, the Shield and the Nose on El Capitan, and the regular northwest base of Half Dome. In 2011, he founded Can I Retire Yet? He's also the winner of a 2019 Plutus Award for the best retirement blog. He's a personal finance book, includes Retiring Sooner and Can I Retire? So we're so glad to have Darrow Kirkpatrick. Derek, how are you?
Great to be here. Thanks. Nice to see you, Mike, and meet you, Sherry.
Oh, no, so glad to have you on. I know it's early for you this morning. Let's just jump on into the show real quick. Derek, you're the author of 2 Sticks, One Path. It's a powerful memoir that chronicles your emotional and physical journey, Colorado Trail. But tell us the early years. Tell us where you're originally from and your upbringing.
Well, I was raised in a very devout military family, so as you can imagine, we moved all over the place at least every 2 years. So I don't have a strong feeling of being from somewhere, although I guess Virginia is the closest. I went to high school and college there.
Yeah, you did that, of course. But growing up back east, what was just growing up in the East Coast like for you?
Well, it was I had a great childhood. I was a good student. I enjoyed school. Dad got me involved with scouting pretty early on, and that was one of the prime influences. He was a military officer. He wanted me to kind of embrace the leadership aspects, the organizational aspects of scouting. I was okay with that, but what I was really passionate about was being outdoors, the camping and the hiking. That's what I loved, and that was the beginning of a lifelong adventure, really.
When you were going to school, did you know what you wanted to do early on, or was that kind of a search?
Yeah, that was a search. Dad was a civil engineer, so I figured that I would do that. But and I was a decent engineer, but in retrospect, perhaps I would have followed a financial path because, as you referred to, I started a financial blog in my early retirement and was really fascinated by that. But the engineering was a good, solid foundation for whatever I wanted to do. But the civil engineering in particular, I wasn't super fascinated by. I kind of got off on the environmental side of it, which did appeal to me.
Well, growing up, what was high school and college like for you? Were you doing sports and athletics, or I mean, the hiking and back then, or what was kind of the interest back in those days?
I played some baseball early on, but I met a buddy in high school who got me into technical rock climbing. And that, on top of the scouting, which involved me with camping and hiking and backpacking, those really became my loves. And then, as I mentioned, I was a good student. I was in the advanced classes. I was kind of a bit of a, intellectual, I guess. I got picked on by some of the bullies in school. So yeah, that was my growing up experience. That the outdoors was my retreat. That was my happy place.
Well, you mentioned let's take a minute about speaking about your father. I know
Mhm.
Rebecca's mentioned your father. Your father had a very strong influence, I think, on both of you.
Yep.
Tell us about your father, his background, his focus, his career.
Well, yeah, he grew up in the South, primarily Atlanta. People referred to him as a Southern gentleman. He was a very kind man, but he was also a very successful and firm military leader. Commanded a CB battalion in Vietnam, building things while getting shot at, unfortunately.
Mm.
And he was an inspiring individual, one of those people who kind of created a sense of, positive reality whenever you were around him. He had strong opinions on how things should be, but he wasn't dogmatic or angry about it. So he was. I count myself as very lucky to be his son.
What type of relationship did you have with him?
It was generally great, very warm. He was clearly the father figure, but we also were friends and we did a lot of backpacking together. He was really my first partner in the outdoors, and
Oh,
he was
so
he
he
was
did that.
knowledgeable from scouting, so I really looked up to him.
Well, that's great. Because he had a long career. Did you think about joining the military yourself?
Yeah, I did. That was the game plan before I decided to become a civil engineer. But, at that point, I was a kid looking up to my dad, just wanting to follow in his footsteps. I hadn't done a lot of clear thinking about what my path was going to be.
That's interesting. We've had last week we had a gentleman on the show named Rick Haffey. He talked about his father was a big influence in the Omaha area in athletics and officiating and so forth. But he wanted to get out of his father's shadow. He wanted to do something different. Did that cross your mind?
Well, I don't think consciously, but looking back, you have to see it very obviously in some ways. And maybe one of the obvious ways was my involvement with technical rock climbing. I was so passionate about that. It was a bit of a counterculture activity 40 or 50 years ago. There weren't climbing gyms in every city. It was almost a lifestyle thing. And I don't see it as a direct reaction to dad, but it was definitely me following my own path on something that, he must have scratched his head at times to wonder why I was involved with it.
Tell us about that. I've heard about it. I've seen a little bit about it here. Technical rock climbing. What does that entail?
Well, you're climbing steep rock faces. They're too steep for, hiking. So you're using your hands and your feet. And once it gets very tall, you're using ropes and equipment to protect yourself, keep yourself safe, but you're still making progress with just your hands and feet, free climbing, it's called. And I just loved the movement. It's almost a dance-like kind of movement, except that you have a lot of exposure and excitement because you're up high in the air. I liked the technology. I was an engineer. I loved the ropes and the different protection devices we used. It helps to have a knack for technology and equipment to be a good rock climber. I just loved everything about it. I was super involved with it for 30 years.
Well, tell me in terms of you told me you surrounded yourself with you're big in the preparation and the planning. Where did you find the people who had this technical skills to teach you?
Well, I was lucky. I had a buddy in high school who was a caver, And I can't say for sure. He picked it up from older mentors, but cavers use the same equipment, same techniques, even though I don't care for being underground. Thank you. I like being up in the sunlight. But he taught me the basic techniques. And then I met some people in Yosemite Valley who had experience climbing big walls. These are the long climbs that take more than a day. So you're sleeping up on the rock face. And I was fortunate to have two partners for El Capitan that were both very skilled, and we traded techniques and really improved each other's, abilities.
Wow, what's it take to be successful at this?
Well, focusing in on big walls in particular, these are climbs that are several thousand feet long. And not only do you need to be very strong, have good endurance, but you need to be very efficient with the equipment. People get their ropes stuck and drop things and get themselves stuck up in these walls. So you really have to be competent and move quickly, or it takes long enough as it is. The first one I did took 5 days. You have to be moving quickly and efficiently all the time in order to finish one of these.
Well, what I find fascinating about this, when you first learn this, I imagine you're taking it in small steps, but larger, as the higher you go, the more the risk. How did you? What was your experience when you were learning it? I think.
Yeah, it's a bit of a paradox, probably. I would say pure rock climbing, if you're competent, is pretty low risk. The equipment is very effective at keeping you safe as long as you don't make any mistakes. And once you get a few hundred feet off the ground, the consequences are the same as being a few thousand feet off the ground. So mentally, it's intimidating to be on a climb that long, but it's not necessarily any riskier unless you're up high in the big mountains where you might run into a snowstorm or something like that.
Now, I'm going to back up just a little bit, Darrow. As far as the rock climbing and all of those things you did, you started that at an early age. Is that correct?
High school. Yeah. And then the backpacking with Dad was more like junior high. Yeah.
Right. Now, especially the rock climbing, you were still at home. And where was Mom and all that? I mean, as far as, was Mom behind this? Or was she like, oh my God, don't kill yourself? Or
My parents were great. They had
all of this adventure.
Yeah, they had to have felt that way. Honestly, they were very good about not letting their fears infect my sister and me. They were very positive and supportive. But I just have to think they were concerned. And I feel, as a parent now, I feel for what they were probably going through.
Oh, absolutely. But it sounds like that they were pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think they trusted me. They knew I was a very deliberate kind of person. They trusted me to not take, risks that and hurt myself.
But when you have a child that's, and I love the word deliberate. I have a couple grandkids and I have one daughter that I didn't use the word deliberate. I used the word headstrong, stubborn. But sometimes when they're like that, you do have to let them go and just hope and pray for the best.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you have this love and this passion for the outdoors, but let's back up to a little bit, because we were talking about, you had to, of course you have to, you're back east. And I told you last night when we were talking on the phone, I always pictured the East Coast, very fast paced, very crowded, very competitive in the work environment. And so you had to compete in that world too. And within your career, tell us a little bit more about your business career.
Yeah, so I did get the engineering degree. I've already admitted I wasn't super interested in civil engineering. My first job, I had a mentor who exposed me to personal computers. They were brand new, newfangled things just starting to come out. And boy, that really fit my mental space, learning all about these small computers, how to program them. And I became one of the experts in our workplace, and went on to really redirect my career into software engineering. And it was an incredible opportunity. That was the early 80s. Anybody who could program or knew their way around a little computer could get work anywhere at a decent salary because there was so much demand for it. It was kind of the gold rush period, I call it. So,
yeah, you're really kind of, I would say, the right place, the right time in that market. But comes with that comes pressure.
Absolutely.
You were telling me you were under a lot of stress. You were working tremendous amount of hours. Just give us a little background of that. What was that like?
Yeah, so I went to work with a friend in a startup, and it turns out it was a civil engineering software company, so it was a good mix of my capabilities. But it was typical startup stuff, and we had a limited amount of cash. We need to get products out the door. We're working all this newfangled technology, new computers, new software. We didn't know how to do software engineering, how to build software with groups of people, the communication, the email. All of that was brand new, trying to figure it out and get something productized and out the door before the company ran out of money. So there was a huge amount of stress, and we worked 6, 7 days a week, 60 to 8-hour weeks. I'd worked like that for years. It just seemed like there was never enough time, and everything about software just took forever back then.
During
So
during
very
during
stressful.
that time, I know you're working hard, and I'm sure you're intense, and you've got deadlines, and you've got to get things done. Is this then when you were starting to feel maybe a little sense of uneasiness, or not fulfilled, not that happy? Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very satisfying to finally finish these products, but the process was just grueling. And I would go outdoors. I would do little hikes before and after work to just let off steam. And
Mhm.
eventually, I relocated. I became one of the first remote workers, and I relocated down into Tennessee to try to give myself some more space, um, which helped a lot. But it was still a stressful environment.
Mhm.
And that was the beginning of starting to feel some anxiety. That plus being a new father, having a family to support, that was the beginnings of facing the kind of anxiety that can shut you down and prevent you from living your life. And so I started to taste having to deal with that.
Well, you mentioned that too a little bit in terms of you're going through, you're working hard, and so forth. Is this when did you meet? Is it Caroline
Caroline. Hmm.
and your son Alex? And you're going through this. You're starting to find, or not financial stress, but family stress, or just life stress. What was going on? What were you feeling? Is that you mentioned it was causing some stress?
Yeah, I mean, there's the mechanics. Yeah, I'm still working a software job. I was remote, so I had a little more space, but it was a very complicated, stressful, long hours. And then I had this toddler, this young son around that I was responsible for feeding and raising. And I was still partly a kid myself. I wanted to go
Mhm.
climbing and have fun on the weekends. And I enjoyed coding. That was kind of recreational. I wanted to do my own stuff and was a little bit resentful at having to learn how to be a father. And
Mhm.
that was a process for me. And my hat's off to people that that's natural for, but it wasn't. It was hard for me.
Well, I can imagine, because that type of lifestyle back then is, to me, I remember those computers back then. I mean, they seem clunky, don't they?
Yeah.
What's
And you
today?
think they're unreliable now. I mean, back then they were crashing right and left. It was just always a headache to get anything done.
Well, kind of take us through the journey here. Is this when you were starting to feel? You mentioned the word, and I don't know if it's even the right term anymore. Mental illness or stress. You were just what you had. You mentioned you had a breakdown.
Yeah.
Okay, was this about, when was that, and what were you experiencing?
Well, it was in the early 2000s when things came to a head, and I had kind of mistakenly resigned my position and gone out on my own as a consultant, being a little too impressed with my abilities, but the world was starting to change and it was hard to get work.
Yeah.
Our son was entering his preteen and teenage years, so he
Oh.
was even more demanding. There were awesome parts about that because he could bike and climb with me, but he was pushing back, and there was a lot to manage.
Mhm.
And it really got to me one summer, along with some other just logistical things going on in our life. And I was just overwhelmed. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I had panic attacks, things that I never thought would happen to me. And almost sudden, I'm experiencing them. And I
Mhm.
wound up not being able to work for most of a year. It was really a frightening time in my life.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think is in even back then, it was a problem. It seems to be even a bigger problem, almost an epidemic nowadays, where people battle a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress in their jobs, in their home life, and it's hard. Do you feel that there was a defining moment when you decided, well, you know what, my job is stressful. I've got, stress going on at home. when do you, or did you realize, you know what, this is really a problem? I mean, was there a defining moment, or was it just, it just build up and build up and build up?
Well, I remember being in my office one night when all this stuff came to a head and just realizing that I wasn't in control of my emotions and my body right then. I was trembling, couldn't sleep, and it was like a tidal wave was hitting me, and I just didn't have the tools to deal with it. And that was really scary. And I, over the course of a year, made a tremendous amount of progress with help from my family, taking time off from work, which I was able to do because of our financial preparation that we can get into. But I do remember a very frightening moment when I just felt overwhelmed, like I didn't know this could happen to me. I thought I was always in control, and I wasn't.
Were you at that time, did you have the time with all your other responsibilities? Did you have the time to get away and do a little rock climbing or do a little hiking just to ease some of that anxiety and stress? Or was that not even in the picture at that time?
Yeah, I had given up a lot of my fun activities, which, was part of the solution and also part of the problem.
Yep.
But that summer, I went and spent a couple weeks with Dad, which he was very supportive. And there's some anecdotes in the book about that time with him, which sure didn't fix all my problems, but it helped me kind of stabilize, I guess you'd say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we had lived very frugally. I had a decent engineering salary, so we had a number of years of savings on hand. So I was able to just say, I'm stopping working. I can't do it right now. And we didn't have to worry about feeding ourselves or losing a roof over our head or anything
And
like that.
that's probably what saved you.
That was a big deal, because if I had that stress on top of everything else, I just really feel I can see what happens to people who don't have that financial cushion and face what I did. They can wind up out on the street, and it's heartbreaking, and I can see how it happens.
Darrow, you'd talk to me a little bit the significance that your father stepped in during this time and helped you. Can you explain that a little bit in detail? What did he do?
He had sort of a sixth sense that I was going through something bad, and he just offered on the phone, anything he could do. And he lived on a nice rural piece of property out in Virginia, very peaceful place. So we agreed I would just come up for a couple of weeks to decompress. And again, he was a very calm, supportive person to be around. He had a deep, deep faith. And he shared with me, Bible readings and things that inspired him, some of which worked for me and some didn't. I had to discover my own path in addition to that. But it was it was very positive to be around him and have him as a role model.
Is this the time then, though, as you were going through and reflecting on your life and beginning to think, with the seeds planted for the book called Two Sticks, One Path? Was this even a thought at that moment?
Not at that moment, but within a few years, I was thinking that summer, that awful summer I spent dealing with anxiety and learning, getting myself on the right path. It sure wasn't fixed that summer, but getting myself on the right path. I often thought these experiences were so intense and profound. And I was a writer. I was at least a technical writer at that point. And I thought, I need to try to capture this somehow. And that was a long time ago, but you're right, that was the beginning of the seeds of having some sort of story about my life that other people might be able to benefit
How
from.
did you determine what the right path was for you at that time? Going through that, reflecting back, what were you thinking? Were you looking backward? Were you looking at the present or looking forward? Where were you at at that moment?
Yeah, good question. It was stumbling. You don't have a clear path mapped out. The first thing I did was to simplify my life. I had stuff going on that distracted me, that I was trying to keep balls in the air, trying to do things for fun. I just shut it all down and focused every day on some inspirational reading. A friend had introduced me to meditation, mindfulness meditation in a Buddhist context. I got with a group in town that was sitting once a week. And those very simple practices started to get me on the right path.
The right path. Darrow, we need to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll jump into how the book began. We'll start then.
Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Fern as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Do you want boots that actually feel good on your feet? Meindl delivers premium German-engineered comfort, brought to you right here from Nebraska. Built tough for trails, fields, and everyday wear, and backed by Meindl's Comfort Promise, so you can try them on with confidence. Use promo code THETICKET at MeindlUSA.com, spelled MEINDL, for free shipping. That's MeindlUSA.com. Meindl, comfort you have to feel to believe.
Hello, Husker fans. Stop into Zollner Ford Beatrice for all your automotive needs. Whether new or used, car, truck, crossover, SUV, or EV, we've got them. Shop our ever-changing specials at ZollnerofBeatrice.com or give us a call today and go Big Red. We are Zollner Ford Beatrice, Nebraska's volume dealer with the hometown service you expect.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
1 hour a week can light up a lifetime. Hi, I'm Tim Royers, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Volunteer in your public school, read to a class, chaperone a trip, help with homework night. Your time makes a difference. Be present, be proud, be a part of it. You don't need experience, just heart, time, and a little bit of you. Because when community members positively show up, our future gets brighter. Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Join LES at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 9th at the LES Operations Center to learn about the utilities' proposed 2026 budget and electric rates, and share your input at the annual public meeting. Learn more at les.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Back to What's Next 24 from the 93.7 The Ticket studio with the authors of Next 24, Michael Worrell and Sherry Tills.
All right, welcome back in segment number 2. We got a great guest. We got Darrow in here as well. If you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685, Sergeant Heyman text line. And we got the host, as always, Mike and Sherry.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, with Darrow Kirkpatrick. He's the author of Two Sticks, One Path. Darrow, thanks for joining us again today. I'm so happy that you were able to share some of your personal story, because I think many people, I noticed that when Sherry and I sat down to try to write a book and talk about things reflecting the past, that many people suffer in silence. Did you feel that at times?
Absolutely. It was not great for your reputation to talk about your anxiety and panic attacks. There was even more, I think, probably social pressure to sweep that under the rug and muddle through.
Yeah, there seems to be always this, this fear. You've always got to be strong. Don't show your weaknesses. You might get questioned or attacked in that way. I know we've all experienced some of this. It creates a heavy heart.
And let me ask you this. Going through all of this, you and your wife have been married for quite a number of years. Your marriage seemed to endure all of these issues, all of this pressure, all of the stress and anxiety. I'm assuming she was very supportive of you with trying to get things figured out. Does that make sense? It might not be a great way to word it, but
Yeah. That's the big picture. I tell some stories in my book. Yes, my marriage did endure barely at times, and I'm honest about that. And thanks to her patience and understanding, we hung in there. But it's hard when I'm keeping a lot of these problems secret. It's hard for her to support me, and that was part of the problem.
I think too that at least, the mainstream public doesn't quite understand, mental illness and what goes along with that. Because I think a lot of people have a tendency to say, well, why don't you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get on with life? What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Shake it off. And it's not that easy to shake off.
It isn't. Until I experienced that, I couldn't have full empathy for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, the main reason we're here is to talk about your amazing book, Two Sticks, One Path, A Journey Beyond Fear and the Colorado Trail. Now, when we look at this, I don't know if Harrison, am I pointing to the right camera? When you look at the picture and the cover of your book, it blew me away when I first saw it. I work in the medical field, and I saw the type of canes or walking sticks, whatever you call them, that you were using. It said to me, you have some disabilities. You have some physical issues besides all of the mental things that were going on. Tell us really quick about those physical issues.
Yeah, so that's the other side of this story. In retirement, I'd fought these sort of lifelong lower body injuries, a bad ankle sprain, bad knees, etc. And then in retirement, I had a really bad hamstring injury that kind of turned into chronic pain and lower back pain, and took a long time to get better. It wasn't until I found a really gifted physical therapist who helped me out. And during that, a doctor friend had said, you should get some forearm crutches because they'll let you keep moving around and get aerobic exercise, which is so important for your mental health and recovery. And even as my hamstring started to heal, I realized I need to just keep using these on all my hikes, because they'll keep me from falling, they'll keep me from developing more chronic injuries. And they have just been an incredible gift, and they let me do things I never dreamed possible, like hiking 500 miles on the Colorado Trail.
Darrow, let's jump into the book due to time. It's an outstanding book. The overview of Two Sticks, One Path. The full title, by the way, is Two Sticks, One Path: A Journey Beyond Fear on the Colorado Trail. Harrison, can you bring up that picture of the Colorado Trail? The setting is the 500-mile Colorado Trail, one of the most highest and most challenging long-distance trails in the continental U.S. Tell us about the structure of the book and the plot of the plot summary of the book.
Yeah, so this is me in retirement trying to fulfill a lifelong dream that I'd let slide when I was younger. I'd never finished a long distance trail, and I dreamed of doing it in retirement, and then I'm battling all these injuries. It seems just impossible that I could hike 500 miles through the Rockies. But as I built strength on these crutches, I realized I could start chipping away at this and maybe do it. So the book is structured by my hike of the trail. There's 28 segments, and then there are flashbacks into the book to some of the things we've talked about: my big wall rock climbing, my family tensions, my nervous breakdown, my relationship with Dad. So they're interwoven through the book as I'm making progress on the trail.
Well, and so for people who've not done this before, tell us about that first step. I mean, when you look out over the horizon and see that Colorado Trail, what was going through your mind when you began?
Oh my gosh, it's so long. It was step by step, little piece by little piece. You know, can I go out and do a day hike for a few miles and be okay? Can I go out over and spend one night on the trail and get enough sleep that I can hike the next day? Can I climb, this high of a peak or a mountain? Okay, I need to do 3 times that to finish the trail. So it was little step by little step, building strength and confidence to do this.
Well, and there were challenges along the way, weren't there?
Many challenges. There are wild animals out there. It's generally safe. There's bad weather. You have to be very concerned about that when you get above tree line. There are creek crossings, river crossings that you have to be very careful about. So there are lots of physical challenges in addition
you dealt with some hypothermia as well.
Well, I had hypothermia as a kid at Philmont Scout Ranch out here in the Southern Rockies. So that experience kind of haunted me. I was always very concerned about getting cold and wet above tree line a long ways from help. And so it took a long time for me to get over my fear of that and trust in my skills and my equipment.
And this story takes place between 2015 and 2021. You talk about flashbacks from 74 to 2014. Share a little bit of that. This is why you're doing the trail?
Yeah, so it looks like a hike on the surface, and there's good adventure in the hike, some of these things I've alluded to, but then I sort of try to paint in the picture of why this hike was so meaningful for me, the stuff that I'd gone through, the fears that I was still dealing with. So it was much more than just a hike, because I had all this baggage that I was processing from earlier in my life.
Going through the chapters, it says 43 chapters. Chapter 1, the overview of the Colorado Trail. You found a lot of beauty in this too. You love nature. And what was your experience with the nature side of this area?
Well, it's a tremendous trail. It's the Colorado Trail Foundation calls it mile for mile the most beautiful trail in America, and I call it a greatest hits of Colorado hiking. Just about every mile on the trail is really worth hiking, with fantastic views, beautiful scenery, beautiful forests. And it's also probably the highest trail in the country. So you're over 10,000 feet on average. Just a stunning experience and very physically demanding, both.
Share with us just one of the most of, I knew this took a number of years and it's a long way to walk, but share with us one pivotal thing that you physically saw that was really a turning point for you that made you think that this is exactly what I need to be doing right now?
Hmm. Most likely, about in the middle of the trail, I had to spend a night out alone. I was separated from my partner in high winds and bad weather, and I had to spend the night out alone above 12,000 feet in these difficult conditions. Nobody within miles of me. And it was actually a very calm, peaceful night. That's when I knew, okay, I really know how to do this. And the next morning, I got up and started hiking before dawn by headlamp to meet my friend. And I climbed up to the Continental Divide and looked behind me towards the east. And the sun had just popped over this distant ridge. It was just perched right on this ridge. And everything came together for me in that moment. It was sort of a sign that I had arrived at a point beyond a lot of my fears. Not that they were gone forever, but that I had sort of transcended them. So it was a really profound moment in my life.
What were the lessons from this event?
Well, I guess the headliner is dealing with anxiety, and not that you ever fix it or it's over with, but you learn some tools for dealing with it. For me, it was kind of that exposure therapy that I described of biting off small pieces so that you don't overwhelm yourself, but you're always pushing into your fear, challenging it a little bit. And then on the physical side, just having the assistive devices, the forearm crutches, admitting that I needed those, not being embarrassed to be seen with them, they enabled me to do this incredible physical feat that I hadn't even done when I was younger.
Well, you know, I told you earlier, and I don't know why when I go back to seeing the crutches that they could either be a support or a negative, but they're really a symbol, aren't they? To me, I mean, they supported you.
Definitely.
Along the way.
Yeah, very symbolic. And I see them, some people see them as a negative. I see them as a tool that enables me to achieve my dreams. I love the company, I love the design, and I love what they let me do. And so they're 100% positive in my mind.
They almost became, it seems like they almost became an inanimate best friend.
Absolutely. They become sort of part of your body. I mean, you feel like a four-legged animal. You have much more stability than when you're just on two legs, especially two old gamey legs like I have. So your brain just starts to see them as part of yourself, and you don't even think about them anymore.
Well, in chapter 23, you title it Wild Flowers, Memorable Day, Developing. You developed confidence to set along the trail. This trip really transformed you mentally and physically, did it not?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it was part of the process for sure.
Imagine taking in terms of 6 years. When you look back at it now, was there ever a time you thought of quitting the process?
I was so motivated to complete a long distance trail. And as I started getting feedback, oh, I can do this. I can go a little further. I can climb a little higher. I was so motivated. There were times, like there was a morning, actually in the middle of the night when I had back and neck pain. And I thought, gosh, can I keep going? I might need to make a plan to get off the trail here. But never did that get to the point of wanting to give up. I got more and more excited about finishing it as I made more progress.
Well, as you finish this and you look back, how did it affect your mental illness? But this whole experience changed your mental thought, your family relationships, your view on the environment, and your spiritual search. Talk a little bit about these things. How did the process this change these events?
Well, I think as I've described, it gave me confidence. It's never like at least my experience of anxiety / mental illness is like, it's not fixed, but it's this inclination that I now have these tools to manage. And I have the confidence of, oh my gosh, I have been out alone in the Rockies a number of nights now. If I can do that, then I can get over public speaking or whatever it is that's got me worried at the moment. So it just creates this foundation of confidence, not that you don't have to think or worry about things, but it gives you sort of a track record in your head of, oh, I've been through this before, so I can do what's in front of me now. Did
you get a lot of criticism from other people, from outside people, like, oh my gosh, what are you thinking? This is insane.
I'm fortunate. I'm mostly surrounded. Most of my close friends are outdoors people. And so I would say got a lot of support, and I had some friends sign up for parts of the trail, but I think probably even a few of them were scratching their heads on, why does he want to spend that much time doing that? Or, is that still going to be fun after the fifth night out? So it was my own personal dream that meant a lot to me, and I got the support I needed. Yeah.
Darrow, we need to take another break. When we come back, well, let's talk about what you're doing today and why the book was why. We'll get to that in just a minute.
From the capital to castles, starting this December, fly nonstop from Lincoln to Orlando with service from Breeze Airways. That's right, nonstop flights to Orlando out of LNK are starting this December. You're now just a flight away from Disney World, Universal Studios, Legoland, and the Space Coast. Stretch out and relax on Breeze with complimentary family seating. Book your magical getaway now at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seating Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, we all do a little, we change a lot.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
The party is back on in Lincoln this fall, and there's no party like the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the whole ticket crew for 2.5 hours of pregame coverage before every home and away game this football season as they get you ready for the game. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at our downtown studio at 11th and O, sponsored by Select Plumbing, Raising Cane's, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Currency, and the Kindler Hotel.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Ready to score big with your projects? Look no further than Edward Stone, the MVP of natural stone for over 2 decades. Edward Stone is cranking out over 30,000 square feet every week and offers a winning lineup of over 70 quality natural veneer stone selections. Their unbeatable variety and experienced team will ensure your project is a success, whether it's a home renovation or a commercial build. And hey, they're not just about stone. They've got an all-star lineup of fireplaces, cast stone, brick, and much more. Swing by one of their locations in Lincoln or Omaha today and experience the Edward Stone difference, your reliable choice for over 20 years.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
I can't believe I just scratched that card. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173. Drink locally and support local business during Lincoln's Craft Beer Week, October 11th through the 18th. Great beer, cider, distillates, and more are made right here in Lincoln. For more info, visit lincoln.org/beer-week. Brought to you by Visit Lincoln. Remember to enjoy responsibly. 93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to What's Next 24 from the 93.7 The Ticket studio with the authors of Next 24, Michael Worrell and Sherry Tills.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment. Don't got a ton of time here left, so I'll just kick it straight over to the host, Mike and Sherry.
Yeah, Darrow, welcome back. Again, we're with Darrow Kirkpatrick, author of Two Sticks, One Path. It's a powerful memoir chronicling his emotional and physical journey alongside the Colorado Trail. Darrow, let me ask you a question today. Why write the book? What was your thought after you did all this? Why write it?
Well, I first thought it was going to be sort of a travel log. I mentioned I was a technical writer parts of my career, and so I thought I would tell a story of what I saw, and it grew to be more than that. I realized I needed to make it personal and really talk about some of these things I've been through and overcome to make it connect with people. And so I just felt like I had a good story on my hands and that I had the ability to tell it, and I should do that.
I see where it got critical praise. It's described as a ruggedly inspiring memoir and a love letter to the American wilderness. The book resonates with readers seeking courage and authenticity. So I think you did a really good job. In your mind, when you look at this, who is this book for?
On the first level, anybody who's interested in hiking or doing a long distance trail, but it's a lot more than that. I've had some readers who are armchair adventurers who've really loved it. I try to put the reader in that world of long distance hiking and really communicate what that feels like to be out in nature for that long a time working towards a goal. And so a lot of people have connected with that.
Yeah, I think what we tend to us city people, we kind of forget about nature. We don't get out there like we should, do we?
Yeah, it's important, and it needs our help. One of the things was to communicate what I've seen in Colorado. In southern Colorado, there are places you can stand, do a 360 as far as the eye can see. Every large tree is dead from beetle kill. Beetles are out of whack from what's going on with our planet. When you see it for yourself, you realize we need to take better care of our home here.
How can people get a hold of you if they want to know more about the book? You also do presentations and podcasts. If someone wanted to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Yeah, the central point for all that is my website, trailmemoir.com. So it's just trail and then memoir.com. And there's more information on the book. There are other books I've reviewed in that genre if you're interested in reading about that. And my contact information. And then the book's available on Amazon and Kindle and paperback.
I also want to add before we close here as the minister, but you also founded in 2011, you founded Can I Retire Yet?
Correct.
That's on that.
Yeah, it's a personal finance blog. People were curious, how did I manage to retire at age 50 without being like a dot-com millionaire or something, which I wasn't. So it's my techniques for frugality and prudent investing. And that grew, and my former partner is keeping that blog going. So I'm very proud of that.
And how's Darrow? How are you today? You've done all this now. What's the future hold for you?
Well, the next, foreseeable future is going to be talking about this book because it has the ideas and the experiences in it that are really meaningful to me. So it gives me a platform to get out there and hopefully make some impact on the world in the direction that I think would be positive.
Darrow, our book talks about, and our little catchphrase is discover happiness and pure joy in your life while you create a legacy. What legacy do you want to leave? What legacy do you want to leave for your son, your family, any future generations? What legacy do you want to leave with all this?
Well, just on a personal level, I'm trying to practice kindness and wisdom in my life and share that with other people. And then I hope that this book has some legs and that people feel that it's a compelling trail story that mixes outdoor adventure with really valuable life lessons as well. So this book holds most of what I've learned in life, hopefully in a way that's fun to read and entertaining and exciting.
Darrow, we've only got about a minute left, and we always turn the mic over. What would you like to say to the community?
Let me just read a short excerpt from the book about dealing with fear, because that's the basic message. I learned that fear is overcome by patience and experience, not by logic, avoidance, or the passage of time. You get brave by showing up, embracing the experience, and drawing strength from your own audacity. And the process never ends. Courage is not a state of being, it is a quality of action.
Very good. Darrow, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. Time's running out. So if you want to get Darrow's book, again, it's available on Amazon.com. It's a really great book, Two Sticks with One Path. Darrow, thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Mike and Sherry. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, Darrow.
Take care.
Thank you.